Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at stories from r/BestOfRedditorUpdates. This one seems wild. Hopefully we'll get time to do two. The first one seems wild. So yeah, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, so this one was posted by Lucy Aria Rose, and the title says, "Am I overreacting for calling off my engagement after my fiance admitted that his family secretly tested me to see if I was a gold digger? Immediate reaction? No." Oh my goodness. So of course, Lucy Aria Rose is the person that compiled the stories and updates together. They are not the original poster. The original poster is Pleasant Mission 6-3, and it was originally posted in Am I Overreacting? And we have mood spoilers, just yikes all round, but hopefully OOP will be okay. Goody, poor OP. Oh. So it was originally posted February 20, 2026. February 20th, 2026. Why did I say that so weird? Something wrong with me. Using a throwaway because my fiance is an occasional Redditor and I really don't want him to find this. See, this always gets me right when they say I'm using a throwaway because I don't want my partner or whatever to find this. And then they give a really obscure story and I'm like, won't they be able to piece the pieces of the puzzle together if they did come across it? Because they'd be like, who else has got a story like this? Anyway, I, 24F, have been with my fiance, 27M, for almost 4 years. He has a really well-paying job in tech, and I make pretty average money. We've always split things fair, and I've never asked him for expensive stuff or trips or anything. I honestly thought money was a non-issue for us. I never was interested in him for his money anyways. We genuinely clicked so well, and I loved his personality. We are into the same nerdy things, and his family seemed to really like me. I never thought I would have to worry about our relationship going south until now. A few days ago, my fiance sat me down and said he had something he wanted to tell me, and he was smiling like it was good news. He basically told me that his family has been secretly testing me for the last 11 months to make sure I wasn't a gold digger. He said they were worried I only liked him for his income and wanted proof before we got married. And he said that with a big old grin on his face. Oh my goodness. The test was that they all made it seem like he was struggling financially and might lose his job. His mum would casually bring up layoffs, his dad talked about how unstable tech is, and slowly it turned into he might lose his job and you guys might have to really downsize. At one point, his mum even told me I should be prepared to financially help him if it came to that. I never wanted to bring up the possibility of a layoff for him because I didn't want to stress him out. I wanted to be prepared to support him if needed, so I started budgeting more, saving money, cutting back on random spending, skipping stuff I wanted, and just generally trying to prepare for the worst. I constantly reassured my fiance, encouraged him, told him we'd be fine, that I didn't care about money, that I just wanted us. But this whole thing was fake. His job was never in danger, his income never changed, there were no layoffs. His family literally planned this whole thing together. They kept it going for almost a year. Subtle comments made in passing to manipulate me and test me. I really hate that because, obviously for one, it's just icky and it's really sly and it's just not nice behavior to do to your partner, and it's really up to let your family get involved in that too. But the thing I really hate about this is the amount of stress that they've put on the poor OP for no reason. None whatsoever. The OP's been feeling like they need to scrimp and save in preparation for, what may be the loss of the fiance's job and a significant downturn in their income, and they didn't even need to do any of that. And when you think that your income is on the line and it doesn't feel stable or safe, it's such a stressful feeling. Apparently, this all started because his older brother went through a really messy divorce. His brother now pays a ton in child support, and his ex-wife got a lot of money in the divorce. His family fully blames her and thinks she was a gold digger, so now they're super paranoid about any woman who dates one of their sons. The thing is, I've actually met his brother's ex-wife before. She was dropping off the kids at a family night and she seemed really nice and normal. I never once got gold digger vibes from her, and honestly, it makes me feel uncomfortable how much they demonize her. If she has kids with him, of course she's going to need child support from him. Like, kids cost a lot of money to bring up, an incredible amount. And obviously, if he's then got a really good job, the courts are going to make him pay more in child support. That's just how it goes. The more you earn, the more you pay. That's not the ex-wife being a gold digger. That's the court saying you need to pay child support because they are your frigging kids, mate. Like, what the hell? I have actually met people like this before that, their family member has to pay child maintenance when they've broken up, and the family member will be like, oh yeah, their ex is such a fucking gold digger. They have to pay her all this money. And I'm like, you mean to help financially towards the well-being and upbringing of their offspring? Oh no. What a shame. Like, pay your child maintenance, you skimpy bastard. My fiancé said his parents finally told him that I passed and that they felt comfortable with him marrying me now. He said he wanted to tell me because he thought I'd be relieved to know that he actually isn't struggling financially, and that it shows how much his family cares about protecting him. Yeah, no, I'd be worried that his family's going to start trying to sacrifice me or some shit, because this is weird. Like, this is a weird family dynamic. Then he tells me that to celebrate, he upgraded our honeymoon to a nice luxury resort in Hawaii. I mentioned this resort when initially honeymoon planning, but deemed it too expensive, so settled for a more modest option. But I feel weird about it. I don't want to be rewarded for being manipulated really well. Like, good job, we tricked you and you were so gullible you believed it. Here's a nicer vacation. Yeah, that would feel icky. It really would. I told him I felt manipulated, embarrassed, and honestly humiliated that his whole family was watching my reactions and judging my character behind my back for almost a year. He said I'm looking at it wrong and that I've proved I'm not with him for his money and that this should make me feel more secure in our relationship. It would make me feel entirely less secure about my relationship if I found out that was going on behind my back. I don't know about any of you lot, but yeah, no, I would not feel secure. Secure would not be the word I would be using. I wish I could ask my family what they thought, but unfortunately, my mum passed away 2 years ago, and I don't have a relationship with my father. I'm feeling sad and lost because I don't have a reliable second opinion to lean on. His family had become my family. That's what makes this even harder. His family is acting like this is totally normal and that I should be proud of myself. His mum literally said, "Most girls wouldn't have handled that so gracefully." Oh, piss off, love. I told him that I need space and I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement, but I honestly don't know what to do. I love him and this is so out of left field. Now everyone is acting like I'm blowing this out of proportion and being dramatic. Part of me wonders if I am, but another part of me feels like my trust is completely broken. I 100% understand, OP. I would be exactly the same. I don't think, in all honesty, I could continue in a relationship like that. I would feel like I had to watch my back over everything and be worried that they were making decisions about my life behind my back, you know? Am I overreacting? I'm not sure if tests like this are normal. I feel weird about it. I don't know. Please help. Tests of any kind in relationships are not normal and should not be normalized. I really don't like this new trend of what it seems like anyway, of testing the person that you're with. If you need to test them, maybe you shouldn't be with them, you know? If you distrust them, maybe think about being with somebody else. It's crazy. TLDR, fiance's family secretly tested me for almost a year to see if I was a gold digger by suggesting potential financial struggles. I changed my lifestyle and supported him, only to find out it was all fake. They said I passed and upgraded our honeymoon as a reward. I feel manipulated and am now considering calling off the engagement. Edit, a couple of people are asking why he didn't just ask for a prenup. Yeah, I did wonder. You could just ask for that. We actually did discuss this before we got engaged, and I told him I would be open to a prenup. I brought this up when he confessed, and he said he wasn't necessarily worried about divorce. The whole thing was about testing my character and making sure I was a morally good person before he married me. It doesn't make much sense to me, and feels like his whole family went out of their way to do some stupid morality test. I've never given the indication that I'm shallow, so it really hurts. I just think they are suspicious of any outsider who comes into their family. Also, I misspoke when I said the Hawaii resort was all-inclusive. I guess I've used that word interchangeably for describing a really nice resort. I have no idea what any of that means. I haven't been on holiday in my adult life, so obviously I went as a teenager, but normally it was in this country. I've been out of the country 3 times. Twice to France, once was with school, and then once was a camping holiday, and then I went to Spain once. And yeah, other than that, never been out the country. I don't actually get the itch to either, to be honest. I do not like aeroplanes, and I get horrifically sick on boats, so I'm kind of stuck. Plus the fact that I'm always skint, that doesn't help. Top comments. I'm Andy Lee says, in their effort to prove that you are a morally decent person, they have proved that they are not. And then Weir Coco says, they thought she wasn't good enough for him. They're not good enough for her. Exactly. So, update 1, same post, February 21st, 2026, the next day. Update 1. I'm really sorry. I've never posted on Reddit before. I've always just lurked, never posted. I wasn't sure how I'm supposed to give an update. I replied to a comment but didn't know if that was correct, so here is the update as well. Thank you all for your comments. It means a lot to have so much support and validation. I knew right away deep down that this was wrong, but I needed validation, as bad as that sounds. I don't have close family or many friends, so hearing that my feelings are normal makes me feel less alone. This happened a couple of days ago. I'm still staying with my fiance right now, but things are tense and I feel anxious pretty much all the time. Yeah, that is not a good start to a marriage. If you're gonna stay together, I would at least prolong the engagement before actually getting married to figure out what you want to do. Maybe get some couples counseling. Maybe tell him that he needs to tell his family that they need to back the off and get their nose out of his relationship. I don't know, but yeah, something needs to change, clearly. He knows I'm upset and knows I need space, so he hasn't tried to talk about it since. He knows I'm considering calling off the engagement, which is why I think he's been so sensitive around me for the last few days. He hasn't been acting like it's a positive thing anymore and seems pretty remorseful since I told him how much it hurt me. This morning I asked him if he knew about it the whole time, and he told me that his parents started making the comments without his knowledge. And after he overheard a comment they made to me while over at his parents' house, he asked them privately why they said that, and they explained that they were testing me. He decided to let them continue just to see what they would do. From past interactions with his parents, I also know that he has a hard time standing up to them or disagreeing with them. So, it honestly makes sense that he didn't call them out and just started going along with it. I'm sorry, but even if he wasn't comfortable with calling them out, he could have at least turned to the OP and gone, "Hey love, this is what they're doing. Don't listen to them. I feel uncomfortable calling them out because, I don't know, insert reason here. But I just want you to let you know that this is what they're doing, so ignore them, basically." Rather than letting the OP suffer and stress and worry about trying to make sure that they were going to be okay if the OP's fiance lost his job. They told him that they were offended when I suggested an expensive resort for the honeymoon and made a comment insinuating that his parents would be paying for it. They got it in their head that I just expected them to shoulder the costs of an expensive resort without question, which isn't true. I happily accepted for a more modest option when they suggested it because I don't want to seem pushy or entitled. Plus, typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, do they? I mean, this is definitely not a UK tradition anyway, I know that much, but yeah, I've never heard that one before. So I didn't know that they were offended by that. Maybe I really did come off as entitled, but that was honestly never my intention. Regardless, I don't think that justifies testing me like this. Editing void here, and yeah, I completely agree that it is not a reason for them to test the OP even still. Like, I don't know where the OP is from, whether that's like a well-known tradition, that's just how it is. The groom's parents paid for the honeymoon. So, you know, the parents saw the OP suggesting an expensive resort, put my teeth back in, and then thought, you cheeky mare. And I'd understand that. I would understand thinking, excuse me, we're paying for that and you're suggesting something really expensive, and maybe in it putting their back out a little bit. But that's when they need to go, just so you know, we aren't going to be spending absolute thousands or whatever on this sort of stuff. And we want you to know that that is not something you can expect us to do. Like, they could have just said that, or they could have approached the subject immediately rather than doing something really sly and offhanded, going about it the way they did. It still doesn't make it okay testing the OP like that, you know? He wasn't the mastermind, but he never stopped them and didn't see why it was wrong or manipulative until I told him how upset I was. A part of me wonders if he was manipulated by his parents to think that this was acceptable. I'm torn between calling it off or having a conversation with him and asking him to go to couples counselling, plus set serious boundaries with his parents. I mean, if you're torn, you can do that in the interim. Like, nothing says that you can't go to couples counselling, set boundaries, and then still go, do you know what, actually, this isn't for me. You can do both if you want to. I also see some suggestions recommending that I talk to his brother's ex-wife. Yes, that might be a good idea, actually. I mean, as long as it's not going to rock the boat if you decide to stay with your partner. I would probably have a word with fiancé if you are going to do that. Be like, by the way, I'm going to go and meet up with her because I want to know what the crack is. I think that's a good idea, but I'm honestly really nervous about it. I don't have a number, but I follow her on Instagram, so I'm considering DMing her and asking to call her. I'm pretty overwhelmed with the attention this post is getting, but I'm super appreciative of everyone's support and love. I think I have realised I have people-pleasing tendency and a need to keep the peace, but I'm trying to force myself to break out of that. It's all just really scary and I feel really lonely. My natural inclination is to forgive and forget so that I can still have a family. I know that's not the best idea. I know change needs to happen. I'm still figuring out where to go from here. I'm sorry this post is so long. I tried to add my update to a new post, but the mods removed it. I don't know why. And then OOP's comments. Oglio Virgilio says, plus typically the groom's family plays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know they were offended by that. This is a thing in 2026? Has that ever been the case? Regardless, much like bride's family pays for the wedding, it's no longer the case for much of society. OOP says, I guess you're right. My fiancé and I have been putting money aside to pay for the wedding ourselves. My family isn't in the picture, so we never expected financial help from that end. Maybe it's outdated for me to make that assumption. I now feel embarrassed about that comment. I still don't think it justifies the testing though. And then update 2, same post, February 23rd, 2026, 2 days from the original post. Update, well, my fiancé found this post. I mean, I did think he was going to. It's a pretty specific problem for him to not see it and think, that's probably about us. Honestly, I feel pretty stupid for thinking that he wouldn't find it. I didn't expect this post to get as much attention as it did, so thank you all for that, but I was extremely detailed, which was kinda dumb. He saw the post and immediately clocked that I wrote it. He came to me yesterday with the post and I was super afraid he would be angry, but he was actually very understanding. He said reading the comments was super eye-opening to him on just how messed up this situation was. Yeah, to be fair, that's probably a good thing then that he found it, because he's seen then everyone else go, "What in the fuck?" And that's gonna have brought him back down to earth. He feels bad that he ever even tried to spin this in a positive light. We had a pretty deep conversation and he came to realise that he has been manipulated very heavily by his parents and family. When his parents justify something, even if it's bad, his brain will immediately try to justify it too, because differing opinions were not allowed in his household growing up. This whole situation has started the realisation for him that he grew up in a manipulative and an emotionally abusive household, but was never given space to realise it because they had an extreme us versus them mentality. I was getting that vibe. Like I say, it was giving "our family will sacrifice you if you don't do as we say" kind of vibe. Like, concerning. So, even when an extremely normal and well-intentioned person comes into the family, aka me and his brother's ex, they will do anything they can to invalidate their character because they are uncomfortable with outsiders. I have learned a lot about myself through this situation as well. First of all, I'm emotionally vulnerable and need therapy. Bad. My need to belong has caused me to stay in situations that are unhealthy for me just because I'm so desperate for a family. I know that's bad and I know it will be hard, but I want to change. With that being said, even though my fiancé was very remorseful and apologetic, I told him I want to call off our wedding and take a break from our relationship. We both have issues we need to work on by ourselves before we consider joining in marriage. I honestly am quite glad that the OP has come to this realization themselves, because I do think sometimes when there's this much that's gone on, and it's causing a trust issue, I don't think that getting married is a good idea. I mean, they can go away, work on their stuff, and come back together at a later date. That's fine, but right now, it definitely seems like they have a lot of realizations to get through on their own as separate people, and then work on themselves together maybe in the future. I want to figure out who I am without someone to lean on, as painful as that may be, and he needs to seriously evaluate his relationship with his family and how they have affected him. I told him that if in the future we find ourselves emotionally healthy and the timing works out, maybe we can be together again. But for right now, that's not the case, so we need to go our separate ways. We still live together and I don't exactly have anywhere to go, so my fiancé said that he would move out and try to find other living arrangements. He will pay his portion of the lease until I find another roommate. Again, thank you all for your comments and support, they mean a lot to me. I think, as sad as it is that the OP and her fiancé are breaking up, especially now that the fiancé is having a realization that what his family's done is messed up, and his family dynamics have probably been messed up for a long time, long before the OP even come about. You know, it does make it sad that they're breaking up, because it seems that there is the chance for redemption there for the fiancé. However, I think the OP is absolutely right in what they've said. So, down in the comments, Cozy Egg says the real test was whether she'd put up with the manipulation. Bingo, exactly. Like, I'm sure it's a bonus that they confirmed OOP isn't a gold digger, but this was really about seeing how she reacted to their manipulation before ramping up to full-blown emotional abuse after the wedding. And then Pepcorn says, it doesn't even sound like OOP's ex-fiancé has any significant gold to dig. He has one well-paying job. Like, alright, what happens if he gets fired tomorrow? Is he the gold digger then? Anyway, I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, I'll appreciate you even more, and that's your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Don't forget to leave the offering of a comment for Big Al. He loves them, he does, eats them up. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.